Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so you friends see it. Thank you.
Fox host just trashed Don Lemon and called CNN a dog whistle for race baiting, anti-Trump bigots. CNN host Don Lemon is probably the very worst of liberal media personalities when it comes to claiming that completely racially neutral statements that Republican President Donald Trump and other Republicans in Washington, D.C., are somehow racially motivated. For example, Lemon recently claimed on his show that President Trump's encouragement for Christians to defy political correctness and say Merry Christmas around Christmastime was somehow a dog whistle to white people who support him. On Fox News' Hannity, guest host David Webb and his guest Todd Starnes forcefully hit into Lemon for his baseless claims. Joked David, "You know, I forgot to bring my dog whistle. I usually have that on my radio show to blow whenever I hear that phrase." Todd followed this up by saying, "So let me say something about Don Lemon and, quite frankly, CNN. Their entire network is a dog whistle for race baiting, anti-Trump bigots. I mean, it's 24/7. They really believe that Merry Christmas is a dog whistle. It makes me wonder what they think the words ho, ho, ho would be code for." Todd was just getting warmed up. He continued, "I want to go to this idea that Christmas is somehow inclusive. Is that really true? Because you don't hear them talking about how well, Ramadan needs to be more inclusive. This really is not about inclusivity, David. This is about marginalizing Christianity." Todd then added, "When President Trump said the words 'we are gonna start saying Merry Christmas again,' what he was trying to tell people was, you know what? I understand the true meaning of Christmas. Jesus is the reason for the season. That was the message that the president was trying to convey." Do you agree with Webb and Starnes about Don Lemon and other liberals? Insider reveals how much pot Obama has smoked since leaving office. It gets worse. Former Democratic President Barack Obama has admitted to his drug use in the past, and it looks like he is back to his old ways now that he has been relieved of the pressures of serving as U.S. President. Journalist Ed Klein, who has extensively covered the Clintons and the Obamas, recently shared what he heard from an inside source about Barack's post-presidency activities in his new mansion in the exclusive Kalorama neighborhood in Washington, D.C. Described Klein in an article, Barack Obama has adamantly refused to heed the pleas of his party to lead the resistance against Donald Trump and instead spends much of his time at his home just blocks from the White House playing video games, chatting on the phone with celebrity pals, smoking marijuana and popping cannabis-infused gummy bears. Ed then quoted his source, who chose to remain nameless, writing about Obama, "He gets the weed from friends who visit him. I was told he keeps a small stash in his bedroom." The former president and first lady have separate bedrooms in their Kalorama mansion. "He has rolling papers and hasn't forgotten how to roll a joint. Sometimes he'll smoke in his bedroom, and sometimes in the backyard. But mostly he does it when he's traveling." The source added about Barack, "At one point, he became so concerned about people smelling pot around Kalorama that he asked friends to get him some edible stuff. They got him brownies, cookies, and gummy bears infused with THC. Are you glad delinquent Obama is out of the White House?" Is Whoopi Goldberg high? Watch confusing statement on NYC terror attack, the first one we've really endured. The ladies of The View gave their condolences after the New York City terror attack. However, Whoopi's speech was a little bit off. She claimed this was the first terror attack since 9/11. But this isn't true. There's Boston, San Bernardino, Orlando and more. Has she been hiding under a rock? First of all of us are sending our love to everyone impacted by this insane terrorist attack. Really the first one we've really endured since September 11th? 8 people lost their lives after a man from Uzbekistan who has been in the US since 2010 used a rental truck to plow into people on a New York bike path in an ISIS-inspired attack, said Goldberg. They weren't sure what it was. Initially they said it was a road rage thing, which wasn't ringing true for a lot of folks, said Goldberg. Perhaps she meant the first terror attack in New York City since 9/11? But even that isn't accurate. There were attacks in 2014 and 2016. Meghan McCain then shared her story. This is my neighborhood. One of my best friends was in the grocery store across the street when it happened and heard everything and came back. She's 9 months pregnant. Hysterical afterwards, so I called her, said McCain. The thing about this, the trend of taking cars and jamming it into mass groups of people and crowds is the new trend with ISIS. We see it in Europe, see it happening in the United States of America, she said. It's outrageous. CNN's Van Jones attacks President Trump for sharing story of his brother's alcoholism. President Trump recently addressed the awful opioid crisis in this county. He explained how he could relate to it because he had addiction in his family. Trump's older brother Fred died as an alcoholic, and as a result President Trump has never had an alcoholic drink in his life. In an interview with Bill Maher, CNN's Van Jones said that President Trump's speech was outrageous. This is one of the things that I think is criminal on the part of Trump. He, and the Republican Party during the primary, went out and actually found out, which a lot of people didn't know, that people are dying all over the country. You know, one of my close friends, Prince, died of the same opioid crisis that's killing people in coal country, said Jones. So, you literally have a catastrophe, and you could do something about it right now. It would take money. It would take willpower. You'd have to bring people together. Instead, you do a press conference, a tweet, and talk about advertising. You're not going to save people's lives. With an advertising campaign. And he is a demagoguing his own base's pain and suffering, and it's outrageous, said Jones. There are, in fact, medicines now. You have medically assisted treatment, where you can get people to, instead of having the detox and die model, where you get people just well enough to go and overdose, you could actually fix it, said Jones. But you'd have to bring people together to do it. And Trump doesn't actually want to solve the problem. He wants to demagogue about it. In other words, the idea that there's nothing we can do is false, 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 and we need to get on this right now, said Jones. The problem in the world today is we love our boys. Michelle Obama makes disgusting speech against men. Michelle Obama made an anti-male speech at the Obama Foundation Summit. She called men entitled and self-righteous. She even scolded parents for raising their male children to feel too loved. She started by attacking men who think they have gender-based problems. Y'all should get you some friends. Get you some friends and talk to each other, because women straighten each other out on things, said Michelle. Y'all need to go talk to each other about your stuff because there's so much of it. It's so messy. Just talk to each other about why you're the way you are. She then attacked how parents raise children. The problem in the world today is we love our boys and we raise our girls, you know? We raise them to be strong, and sometimes we take care not to hurt men, and I think we pay for that a little bit, said Michelle. So we should be hurting our young boys more? It's powerful to have strong men, but what does that strength mean? Does it mean respect? Or are we protecting our men too much so they feel a little entitled or a little self-righteous sometimes? Said Michelle. Are you glad that she is permanently out of the White House? Breaking Top Dem just said Trump is running a criminal enterprise out of the White House. He's in trouble. No shortage of abusive statements have been made by liberals and establishment conservatives about Republican President Donald Trump. They have smeared him by claiming that he is mentally ill, that he is unpatriotic, and that he is racist. However, never Trump politicians and media figures have clearly decided to save their best for last. Fellow 2004 Democratic presidential candidate and former DNC head Howard Dean has just alleged that the president is somehow running a criminal enterprise from the White House. During an interview on leftist network MSNBC, ex-Governor Dean made the wild argument that, instead of just getting some much-needed distance from the White House, Trump taking trips to his residence means instead he is constantly vacationing to promote his own properties. Said Dean, "The promotion is extraordinary. There hasn't been a president in my lifetime that's done anything like this." He added, "In the beginning, the constitutional business about the emoluments clause, which is you're not supposed to take foreign money to influence your policy, it didn't bother me. I thought it was a far-flung argument. I'm not an attorney." He then alleged that Trump or White House workers have been shaking down foreign governments who have moved their events to his hotel in Washington at somebody's request in order to get favors. "I think he's running a criminal enterprise out of the White House, and I think that's what Bob Mueller's on the track of." Unfortunately for Dean, wild statements like this serve to completely discredit people who oppose Trump and Mueller's investigation, and many people have distanced themselves from Dean over his remarks. Do you think Howard Dean suffers from paranoia?